Hello, my name is Jessica Doehler. I am an English 231 student. My term was Uncle Tom's Cabin, written by Harriet Beecher Stowe. She was a very well-educated woman. She was born in Litchfield, Connecticut in 1811. She married her husband and moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, across the river from Kentucky. She was an anti-slavery activist and was also a contributor to the National Era, which was an anti-slavery newspaper that was coming out. She was very against the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, so she wrote a story about slavery. It was a fictional story, but its first installment was Uncle Tom's Cabin, or Life Among the Lowly, and it was published in June 5th of 1851 and continued through 41 installments ending April 1st of 1852. Uncle Tom's Cabin was the publication phenomenon of the century, and it sold 10,000 copies in the first week and over 300,000 by the end of the year. It was the first blockbuster novel published in the United States. By March of 1852, John P. Hewitt signed a contract with Stowe to publish Uncle Tom's Cabin in book form. Her story made a great impact on people everywhere. Writers, poets, and artists. The acceptance of others started to become more normal, and she wanted to tell of the wrongdoings that the civilized Christian were doing, and she wanted to correct it. She quoted, "Thanks be to God that the world is at length outlived the slave trade." She wanted to awaken sympathy and feelings for the African American through her sketches. The northern states saw these sketches as caricatures of unfathomable doings, but the southern states saw the sketches and they witnessed their fidelity, and they knew that these things were happening. Stowe anticipated the day that these sketches would become just a memory of what had long since to exist. But Hollis Robbins said that Uncle Tom's Cabin, or Life Among the Lowly, is at heart a typical 19th century melodrama of cruelty, suffering, religious devotion, broken homes, and improbable reunions. Catherine Kane then said, her book told stories of the people treated as property, personalizing slavery in a way never done before. And that's how she quoted Stowe's novel. The fictional story tells of the slave Uncle Tom, and who was taken from his home and his cabin and his family and being sold to the St. Clair family in Louisiana as the household servant. But once the St. Clairs died, he was again sold to the Legre plantation, where he was whipped to death. Great controversy over this story started in 1852, but it continues to this day. Stowe claimed that it was the perfect timing for the true evils of slavery to be explained, because people were becoming more accepting and humane and understanding of each other. Hundreds of editions of the millions of copies have been sold around the world. Uncle Tom's Cabin remains the world's second most translated book after the Bible, Robbins states. Uncle Tom's Cabin was revolutionary, and it brought forth attention within hours of being published. It was banned in the South, almost in the Vatican, and as well as in Russia. This story still provokes arguments, and arguments are raised about Uncle Tom and how he was too quiet and he didn't stand up for himself. In that aspect, he is letting himself be treated that way for not being harsher in what he deserves, which is not the case. Dr. Martin Luther King, Clarence Thomas, Colin Powell, and Barack Obama are presently comparable to Uncle Tom, people claim today. This was a relentless, passionate, and it started opening minds to a new understanding of people. Catherine Kane, who is the executive director of the Harriet Beecher Stowe Center in Hartford, Connecticut, created it so that to spread the word of Stowe, to impact and to therefore inspire social justice. And in this English 231 class, we have read American literature from our past history and applied them to the world that we live in today. We are a class that learns and observes information and connects to it. Racism is in fact still alive in the 21st century, and it is heartbreaking to see it becoming more visible in the recent years. We have to be more accepting of our brothers and sisters, and it is shown through that people are in fact unjust, as it shows through Stowe's story. But at this time, I would like to give you the opportunity to ask me any questions if you have them, and I hope that you enjoyed.